Hey, Robbie, welcome to the session.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, welcome to the session. Thank you for joining. Good time. We also have Moon. Hey, Moonin, welcome to the call.
Afternoon. Okay.
Afternoon. You are right. It is afternoon, just about. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Who else have we got? Ali Galloway. Hello, Ali.
Hiya, Mark. How are you doing?
Very well. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Yeah,
Very
great.
How's the weather up there? How's the weather up there, Ali? You know,
It's sunny.
we all want to know the weather.
It's sunny in Southport today.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
very
really
good.
nice. We're basking in the sunshine.
Yeah. I think everywhere is, isn't it? It's certainly sunny in
Yeah.
Solihull. Sunny in Solihull. Well, nice to see you, Ali. Thank you for joining the call.
Lovely to see you, Mark.
Thank
Looking
you,
forward
Ali.
to the session today.
Do you know what? It's today. So, folks, today's session, I've got a couple of things that are great, and I've got a shocker for you. I've got an absolute shocker. You may already know about it, this thing that's going, but I was a bit surprised when I saw it. Jennifer, welcome to the call.
Hello. It's nice to see you again.
It's nice to hear. I can't see you, but it's nice to hear you. How are you?
Good, thank you. There you go. You can see me now. I'll give you a wave.
Good. There you go. Well, it's nice to see you. Thank you for joining and checking in. Let's say hello to Philip. Hey, Philip. Philip Slater, how's it going?
Good, thanks. As I was scrabbling for the unmute button.
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? It's like, I didn't know who was going to talk to me. Well, welcome to the call, and thank you for joining and for checking in. Who else do we have? So let's say hello to Katrina. Hey, Katrina, welcome to the session.
Hello, how are you? It's been a while.
Very well. It's been a long time. How are you?
I am good, thank you. It's very nice to have a little touch point with you.
It is, yeah. It's like a bit of a bizarre kind of random way of checking in, but it's nice to see you.
Yeah, definitely. Nice to see you too.
So we're going to just run through a couple of names, and then we'll get started in a few minutes. But we're going to quickly say hello to Stuart. Stuart Hunter. Stuart was in next. Hey, Stuart.
Hi there. Afternoon.
Hi. Afternoon. Thank you for checking in. Who's got their camera on? Cho, welcome to the call. Got a wave there. Hey, welcome to the session. And we've got Helen Ballantyne. Welcome to the session. Hi, getting a wave. And Jessica's popped their camera on as well. Hey, Jessica. Hi, thank you for checking in. So, folks, we're going to give people 60 more seconds, then we're going to get started. We're going to say hello to Chris. Chris's camera's just popped on. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Very good. Thank you for checking in. Folks, we're going to just make a gentle start because of the time. So, welcome to this Evergreen session for June 2025. We've got some house rules, just a reminder of what we talked about. So when we go to each update, we're just going to talk about the name of the update, some key points, the current release date, although that can be a bit variable, a few supporting screenshots. The technical level is for end users, super users, champions, and team or site owners. We don't have time to go into a deep dive in how to use each update or the implications, but what would be great, folks, is if you had a thought on an update, you particularly like it, or there's going to be an impact, it'd be great if you popped a comment in the chat, because you know what this community is like. People will talk, people will respond. It'd be interesting to see if people have the same opinion as you, because we don't have to have the same opinion. So make sure that you pop your comments in the chat. So what have we got? So we've got updates for Copilot, OneDrive, Outlook. We have got a shocker for SharePoint. I still can't get over. I've told numerous groups about this now. I still can't get over this change that's coming to SharePoint. A couple of really nice things coming to Teams, and we're going to have a look at what's going on around 365. Folks, before we get started with Copilot, does anybody have any questions or comments before we launch into our first updates? No? Getting a few shaky heads? No? Okie dokie. Are you meant to have camera off? No, actually. So do you know what? It's up to you if you put your camera on and off. I personally like it when people have them on, because if I ask a question, I get some shaky heads, I get some noddy heads. I personally find it easier to engage you with your camera on, but you don't have to. I'm aware that it's lunchtime. It's entirely up to you. But if you've got it on and you want to leave it on, that's absolutely fine, but you don't need to. Folks, let's see what's going on over in Copilot. So the ability to reference a Teams meeting when you're creating a presentation with Copilot. And let's think about this. Now, Imagine that Danny has had a meeting with a colleague and they're talking about a presentation that needs to be created. How good would this be? So we've gone in and we're going to access Copilot in our usual way. We do our / and then we start looking for our meeting. And we had this this weekly team sync meeting here where we talked about the presentation that we need to create, and then we can create it right in there. I really like that, folks. The ability to reference a Teams meeting, I think is going to give you a nice head start on some of your presentations. Due July to mid-August. Okay, just a very quick one. Creating a presentation in with Copilot in the backstage view. So you might know that you go to PowerPoint. If you want to use Copilot, you go to PowerPoint. You open up a blank document, and there's a couple of ways, either right on the slide or to the side. You can create it with Copilot. Now, it's just going to save you a few clicks. Right in here, you're going to get this option here to create PowerPoint with Copilot, and you go straight into that, and it will just save you just a few seconds, and maybe make it more intuitive for some of our colleagues who are newer to Copilot. Due sometime in the middle of July, up until the end of July. Okay, sticking with creating presentations with Copilot. Previously, you could only reference one file when you were creating a presentation, but it might be that Jessica has got to pull together a presentation that's based on three or four sets of maybe of notes or documents. And what you get now is quite subtle, but look at this, it just explicitly calls out you can do up to 5 if needed. So that might just make it a little bit easier for you. You can search by name. So we do the /, then we can search by name. If you've opened that file recently, it will pop up in the suggested items. But just a quick tip here: if ever you want to reference a file and you just can't get it to appear in your Copilot, if you just open it in the browser, get the URL, copy the in the browser, paste that into here, and it just resolves in like a second, and then it just works beautifully. Okay, so the files are in OneDrive or SharePoint, and it's due anytime now up until early July. Now, does anyone already use this feature where when you're sharing a document, you get the option to also share a Copilot summary, so the person that receives your share gets an overview of what's in the document before they even open it? Anybody already using that? We've got a couple of shaky heads. Okay, so one of the things I like about Evergreen is that when a feature evolves, it's a really good opportunity to explore the original feature as well. Okay, so this is an existing feature that is evolving, and it's a good opportunity for me to just call this out to you. So I can get Copilot to create a summary. So when the person's receiving it, I think it's a really nice way to respect your colleagues' time. That instead of having to open a document, they can at a glance see whether it's for them and whether they need to explore it by opening it. But this was quite narrow before, and the files that it would work on. It's been expanded to PowerPoint Web, Excel, PDFs, and text and other files as well. Let's have a look at how we use this. So you can see here that I've come in and I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this with Chris. I'll put Chris's name in there, and there's a Copilot icon just sort of sitting there, isn't there? Now, if I click on it, it gives you the option to insert a file summary with Copilot. And then when I click on that, look at this, it gives you a nice overview. Okay, so when Chris receives this, he can look at this and go, oh, okay, I understand this, I'll do this later. It's not urgent, it's not for me. I think that's a really nice feature that's probably worth reminding our users about. Also, now includes items which are labeled as protected and confidential. Folks, due now, so I have this already, but any day now, those final files will be supported as well. Okay, does anybody use the prompts app that takes you into the prompt gallery in Copilot? Yeah, some shaky heads. I know that I'm just looking at some of the people on there. I know that some people's communities do. Now, in the past, when we've been talking about Copilot, we've talked to people about the prompt gallery, and a nice easy way to get to it in Teams is the app here. Or if you've gone over to Copilot in a browser, then you can see it's down here on the bottom left-hand side, and it's a great way to get people to explore apps, to get the apps that to explore prompts, look at the prompts that they've saved. For me, I saw this yesterday for the first time, that the prompts app is going to be retired in 4 weeks. Okay, so I didn't see this coming. I still didn't see it in the admin center. So they suggest that that there's other ways to access it, but the key dates. So from the middle of June, no new end of June. Sorry, no new installs. So we have to make sure that we make people aware of that. But just 4 weeks away from now, it's going to stop working. So if that's part of your Copilot rollout, you're telling users about it, you need to make people aware of this. So what do you do instead? Now it's interesting because Microsoft say this is they're doing this to make things more streamlined. Honestly, I can't. It's brand new, and it might be that I need to just get my head around it. But right now, I can't see any benefit to this. But let's look at how we can find a way around it. So here, I've gone into Copilot Chat, and you can see there we've got the See More option there. So I've got my prompts. I click See More. It's not normally that big. I've just made it a bit bigger. I'm going to click on it, and then right down here, look at this. I've got this option to go to the prompt gallery. So it's a little bit out of mind. Now, when you read the notes, and if anyone's interested, I can send them an article on it. They talk about clicking on the Copilot above the input box, the Copilot Sparkle. Now that isn't there for me yet, but I suspect as part of this rollout, maybe that will appear, and this will be easier to access. How else can you access it? Okay, so they talk about this as well. So here you can see that I'm in Microsoft Word. And I click the plus sign. The plus sign is labeled add. So this is where you add stuff, but it's also the entry point into viewing your prompts, and then you get into the prompt gallery. Or you can get your users to make use of the URL where that'll take you straight into the prompt gallery and get into it that way. Folks, some pretty aggressive dates on that, I think. And if you've got a Copilot community, you need to make them aware of that. Normally I'm pretty glass half full, but I can't think of a single good thing to say about that. But we're going to move along. So, getting towards the end of our Copilot section, and we'll pause for breath in a second. Okay, so how about in Copilot, being in Copilot Chat, being able to search your previous chat sessions? So you know that. You can see here on the left-hand side, you know that you can scroll down and you can see your previous conversations. And it works really well. If you click on it, it's not just a prompt, it's the whole conversation. It's a really nice bit of functionality. But this search option is a little bit out of sight. I have to click on all conversations, and then I get this screen that you see here. I see all conversations, and then I can search them. Okay, so if you're telling your users about that or using it yourself, it's just one click away. And when you first look at it, you think, I don't have this search option. Click on all conversations, and you get a really nice screen. It's definitely worth you exploring. Copilot Pages, very quickly, if you use that, you know that it uses loop components. Well, actually, it's no longer, those files will no longer be called .loop. They're going to be called .page, and they're getting a new icon as well, and that's due by the end of July. So a small change, but you might be worth you being aware of. And I'm going to start by apologizing for this screenshot because it's the best one I can get for now. You know that when you are referencing a file, when you're prompting, you do the / and then you get the option, you start typing, and you can filter here by all or files or people or meetings. You get this new filter here. So you can filter it by type. Maybe I'm looking for a Word document, so I select Word, and I only see the Word documents, so I've got more chance of finding what I'm looking for. Folks, a bit delayed, due by mid-July. How about this? Maybe it might be that Richard, you on a Monday morning, you want to make sure that any edits to a file that has happened over the weekend, you're up to date with. So you might have a prompt. You might be more sophisticated than this, but you might say list all files that I have accessed over the last month that were edited over the last 3 days. Okay, how about you get that set up? You use this new option here to schedule it, and you tell it when you want it to run. You want it to run every Monday morning at 7:30. So in your Copilot Chat, your results are just sitting there, and you might have a little string of these things that just helps you. That just goes off, maybe Monday morning or when you get back off leave, and just does these prompts, does this stuff for you, and you come back into the results. Big change that happened just last week. You no longer need a Power Automate license for it. You might have looked at this a couple of months ago and dismissed it, but this new change means that's going to be available to everybody with a Copilot license. And finally, the ability to reference an Excel spreadsheet when you're creating a presentation. It might be that chose creating a presentation, and actually you want to use all these stats that you've got for people who've attended training. You're going to be able to do that. Okay, folks, I'm going to pause for breath. Does anyone have any questions, comments about anything there? Does anyone really like anything in there or really dislike any of it? There's nothing in the chat. Who did I call out? Jessica, you okay with all of that?
Yeah, I like the scheduling prompt thing. I think that's really good.
I think the scheduling prompt thing is excellent as well, Jessica. And you know what? It almost deserved more airtime than it got. I've previously talked about it on a full slide. It was just that. It's just that it was the fact that it's gone live is the why it's resurfaced on this session. It kind of deserved more airtime, but it's definitely worth you folks checking out. I now have it. In my normal environments, so definitely worth you checking it out. Yes, Jennifer, I agree. The fact that it was literally last week I saw that update that said this will no longer require a Power Automate license. Really like that. Any other comments on that before we move along? Okay, so why don't we see what's happening over in OneDrive? Just a couple of quick ones over here for you folks. So it might be that that Amanda's looking at a big PDF, a great big PDF, and there might be 80 pages, and there's a table of contents at the top. You look at the table of contents, and then Amanda, you click on one, and you drop down to it, and then to get back to the next thing that's of interest to you, you need to go back up to the top. Now, assuming that PDF has got a built-in table of contents, then it's going to start appearing on the left-hand side here, and it's quite subtle to get it open. So this little icon here. You can click on there, and then that will open the table of contents. And now, Amanda, as you click on anything on the left-hand side here, the main body will jump up and down, and you can access this at any time. So it just makes it really easy to navigate very large documents. But because it can't magic up a table of contents, it has to have one. But I think that's going to be quite a nice little change, but a little bit hidden. So make sure that your users know all about that. Folks should be here by early July. Okay. This was really popular. So I spoke to 5 groups about this now in a large government organization, and they really like this. So, of course, you can go to your Word, Excel, or PowerPoint file. You can open it up and then do file save as a PDF, or you might have tools to do that. But how about just clicking on the 3 little dots, click on Export as PDF, and then it gets created as a PDF, and it just gets saved in the same place as that file. Now, of course, we shouldn't be creating extra files for the sake of it, but if you have cause to do this anyway, this is going to be quite a nice little saver of time. You should have this any day now, but maybe as late as mid-July. There you go, nice and quick on OneDrive. Any questions or comments, folks?
Okay. Mark, can I just ask Cho, just a quick question? Sometimes or quite often I've noticed that when I'm using Copilot to analyze a document or an email in the browser, and then I sort of expand it, or I click on the Copilot button, it opens a new window, but then it completely starts effectively a new chat, and it's a different stream from what I was looking at before. Is there a way of stopping that?
I don't know, Cho, and actually I'd probably have to have a look at that with you. Cho, if you want to hang on at the end. Hang on at the end.
Okay.
Or
I'll show you. Yeah. Okay.
I know we've got some ongoing work as well. But if you just give me a nudge at the end, and I'll set up a quick chat with you. And I know we've got ongoing stuff as well, Cho. But we'll have a look afterwards. Okay, folks. Let's go and have a look over at Outlook. And there's an interesting theme at the end of this Outlook session. How about summarizing Outlook email attachments with Copilot? So we get, you know that Microsoft are all over Copilot at the moment, and so there's a real. There seems to be, they want some of their money back, don't they? That $20 billion a quarter they're spending on it. They want it to start sticking a little bit. So you're seeing it appear everywhere. Now you might be familiar already that in New Outlook and Outlook Online, you can get a summary of what you've got in your email. But how about this? If we look here, we've got this new option here called Summarize a File. And then when you click on there, you can choose one of the files that's on that that's on that email, and you can get a quick summary of it. So look at this. It might be that thinking about maybe something that Jennifer's working on. You might be received it. It might have, I don't know, 80 pages. So you know what? Instead of opening it, you can just summarize it, and you can see a summary there. And then you can go in and start asking Copilot about it. So another one of those little passive ways. So you might have come to the our last webinar, and we were talking about the passive use of Copilot. You don't need to be able to prompt anymore to get good value out of Copilot. And I think this is another example of that. Okay, so a couple of quick ones. New Outlooks for New Outlook for Windows and web. So you know when you look at your inbox and you come back off leave and you've got a gazillion emails in there, and then you click from, and then you scroll down to find your boss to see what they've been sending you. Well, actually, this is really, it's a small quality of life change. This little down arrow here, you can just start typing your boss's name and it will jump down to that thing. It works on dates as well. So look out for that, folks. That is just going to make it, when if you've got a big inbox, if you've got lots of stuff in there, that's going to make it easier for you to find stuff. This is more of like an organizational type level update. The behavior when switching from New Outlook back to Classic. So it might be your organization let you have the little slider so you can try a new Outlook. It's going to give you the option, instead of switching between one or the other, it's going to keep a New Outlook open and then have a Classic Outlook as well, so that you have both. I think it's good because you can use the best of both, but your users might find it a little bit confusing that they turned it off and they still got it. So just be a little bit aware of it if people come to you with their observations about 365. Now, it's interesting the time they're putting into Classic Outlook. So we know that Classic Outlook is on borrowed time. But look at this draft with Copilot, highlights, and rewrite is coming to Classic Outlook due July to August, and Copilot chat in the sidebar, and a separate feature, summarize email attachments, that one I've previously shown you. Both of those are coming to Classic Outlook due July, but you know what? So some of you might know that that icon, the telescope, means it's further out, and actually I don't think that's going to be in July, but we'll see. Folks, any questions or comments about that stuff that was just covered in Outlook? How about you, Gary? What are your thoughts on some of that?
Sorry, Matt, just a quick one. On the Copilot, where you've got it summarising attachments in Outlook, would that be savvy enough to go, this is a phishing attack, do not open this file or anything like that?
Do you know what, Gary? I've not been asked that before, and I didn't even think about it. It's really, I don't know. So straight up, Gary, I don't know. It's definitely one for us to take away to our organisations. But what I'm wondering is it open? So is that actually open? So technically, what the question that pops into my head, Gary, is that technically open? I don't know, Gary. That's an amazing question. I don't know the answer, if I'm honest. But it's definitely one for us to take back to our organisations when it rolls out. I suspect, Gary, that doesn't class as being open. It's behind the scenes. It's delved in and it's pulled out of text, but it's not actually open. But I'm
just thinking that if it summarizes it and encourages to read something that you might not have, you might actually end up clicking on a.
Right, Gary, as you're talking, right, I've just noticed that I don't know what that icon means, right? I suspect that is in some kind of protected. So so this needs to put some further reading. I don't know, Gary, but I'm going to go make sure that next time someone asks me, I do know. But I've not noticed that icon before. I think it's got to be, Gary. You know, I think Microsoft is savvy enough now to make sure that is in some kind of protected wrapper. But you are right. If it makes it appear really tantalizing, then it might even encourage you to click it. But I don't know, Gary. An amazing question for us to take away, I think.
Okay.
Folks, any more now? Okay, so now we're going to go and see what's going over in SharePoint, and I'll be really interested, folks, in the chat if you can think of a use for this. So the places I've talked to before, there's 4 or 5 different use cases that people come up with. Really interested if you've got a use for this. So we've got our PDF, and we're getting the ability to put watermarks on it. So look at this. I'm just going to click on watermark, pop my text in, choose my size, my rotation, so it looks like a watermark. I can choose my location. What pages is it going to be on? And then look at this, I get the same options for an image, so I can upload an image, and I can have almost like a stamp on there. I've got those same options as well. Due anytime now up until early July. But I'm just wondering, folks, anyone look at that and think, oh, I've got a really good use for that? What's interesting is there seems to be encroaching, Microsoft encroaching on some third-party PDF tools. Think about this this feature, the watermark. Thinking about the compression that I've talked about before as well, the compression for images. There seems to be encroaching on some people's business, I think. Folks, does anyone look at this and think, actually, I'd like to be able to put a watermark on there? Anybody want to be brave and pop off mute and suggest a use for it?
Yeah, we quite often I'll get asked for copies of our protocols or treatment pathways, for instance, and we would usually caveat that and say it's relevant for internal use and use it at your own risk. So that sort of thing would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout. Yeah, that's a really good example. So people are talking about the fact, a bit along those lines, saying that it's a draft, or is it a final document and stuff like that. So I suspect there might be some organizational rules around this one. But there you go, folks. I think that's a really nice update, and making PDFs a little bit more useful. And just a quick one. Let's say that you're a SharePoint page editor, and it might be that Stuart, you're doing a rollout for a new piece of software or a new process, and you've got a document that's got all the details on. You've got this massive 40-page document with everything about this project, and you got a SharePoint page about it, and you want to head off some questions. Well, we've got this new web part that's coming into SharePoint, where we can point it at that document, and it will create an FAQ for us inside that web part. So imagine how much time that's going to save you. You need a Copilot license to create it, but not to read it. So I think, folks, if you're the sort of thing that pushes comms out to your organization, and especially if they're complicated, just a nice, fast way to do an FAQ at the bottom is coming courtesy of Copilot. Due anytime now. Brace yourself. You know, I said that there's a real stinker for SharePoint. Does anybody use SharePoint alerts on SharePoint, in SharePoint generally or in lists? Jennifer's put a crying face in. I'm getting a couple of thumbs up. So I've seen this used everywhere I've worked for as long as I can remember. It might be that that eventually you've got a document that you need to keep an eye on. Maybe when this spreadsheet gets updated, it triggers you to do a piece of work. And this has just been a really low, like a low barrier entry way of being alerted about it. Anyway, they are going. They're being retired. They recommend that you use the Power Automate platform or SharePoint rules. Folks, does any organization's rules for what people can do make using Power Automate for individuals a problem? I know that some organizations are restrictive about what people can do. So the solution is to use Power Automate or SharePoint rules. Now, if you've got existing rules, you'll start being notified from October, and the phased retirement. So from July, you won't be able to create you'll be notified from July. Shortly after that, you won't be able to create new ones, and your existing rules will stop working in July 2026. Now, this seems like a good opportunity for me to remind people about functionality that exists. That the fact this is going is an opportunity to do maybe a short guide or a short video or a few sessions on how we can use SharePoint rules. What are SharePoint rules? How do you set them up? Maybe using Power Automate for that. So I see this as a good opportunity, folks. It's going to create some hassle for people, but I think it's a good opportunity to look at those new features and then maybe get people to maybe embrace them a little bit. Okay, is anyone here responsible or have got interest in the stats that you get for your SharePoint pages? Maybe you look after an intranet or you put stuff out and your organization, and you have to look after. I'm not going to call you out, so don't worry about saying yes. I'm not going to make you tell us all about it. Okay, so if you've got any colleagues who do, because the stats can be a little bit restrictive, can't they, on web pages. So you're going to get up to, with this new feature, up to 365 days of data rather than the 7, 30 or 31. And then it's getting extended to 365 days. You're getting all sorts of new stats as well. So I've only shown 2 on here now, and they look really good. They present really well, but there's a whole page of them. There's loads of new stats that it will look after. Nice and easy to, maybe you're doing a presentation at the end of the month, talk about the engagement you've had on your pages. You can copy these as images. Really easy to export the data. Those charts look great. Initially just for news posts, but it's going to get put across SharePoint. Now here's the gotcha. you have to, as the person looking at this, you need to have a Microsoft Viva Suite license or the Microsoft Viva Employee Communications and Communities license. So it might be, folks. I know someone's frowning at the screen now. I'm frowning as well. So I'm not sure. I don't know straight up what the costs are for those licenses, but it might be that if you're in comms or you're responsible for some parts of your intranet, that might be money well spent because the stats are getting a lot better. Folks, that's going to be available to you by late July if you've got the appropriate license. Okay. We're getting the ability to ground our prompts in SharePoint and OneDrive. So it might be that Richard White, you've got you've got a set of files. Maybe you've got a set of files to do with a project, and you're interested in how your project looks against some government guidelines and the rules for funding and the measurements. And it might be that you just want to see how this project looks against the rules here. You want to see where you're strongly aligned to them, where you've got opportunities to improve. Well, we're getting much better. We're soon going to have much more options to focus on particular sites. Also coming is the ability to focus on folders, on SharePoint, and in OneDrive as well. Folks, look out for that. That should be here over the next couple of weeks, and then maybe into early July. So just look at a couple of tweaks here and the ability to really fine-tune where your prompt is looking. Protect PDFs with passwords on OneDrive for web and SharePoint. Folks, interested in the chat? Where you work? What's the policy regarding protecting PDFs or any documents in a SharePoint Teams or a collaboration area? Is it frowned upon? Is it allowed? I'm just going to pause for a second just while you answer that. Is there a rule that states that you shouldn't do it, or is it allowed under certain circumstances? I'm especially interested if there's a legitimate reason why you would do this. Just going back a few steps, Helen's put a good example in there that you could on that watermark. It hasn't been checked for accessibility. That's a good example. No specific rules. So just while you're pondering that, folks, the several groups that have seen this, they've all just been horrified by this because especially if it's a collaboration area, they forbid people from password protecting things. So this might be an opportunity. So if you don't want people doing this in your area, it might be a good opportunity to use this as a way to reinforce that. You might say, folks, you might notice this new option to encrypt with a password PDFs. Just a reminder that in our collaboration areas, we don't protect our collaboration files that we're working with other people on. Although Jennifer might say, yeah, so Jennifer, there are some Excel spreadsheets where that where that happens. How is this different for managing access for different files? It isn't mentioned. So the same set of rules would apply. This is just for doing it inside the PDF. Inside the PDF, but yeah, the same set of rules would apply. I just think it's a good opportunity to revisit if your organization. So I'm just thinking about the place that I last presented this to. They strictly forbid it, and they're going to use this as an opportunity. Look, here's just a reminder about what our rules are. But just be aware of that, folks. Aware that it's coming, and if you do have a policy on it, or you should have a policy on it, then it's a good opportunity to share that. So you might have seen this last month. This has been pushed back a little bit into July and early August. The ability to compress your PDFs. So you can compress PDF images. So it's only the images in the PDF by 25, 50 or 75%. It may be, we talked previously about, it might be that this is really good if you have to email something out and it's a really big PDF and it's too big for email. That'd be a big PDF, wouldn't it? Or maybe you're trying to reduce the size of your storage or the amount of storage that your organization takes. Or maybe this would be good for archiving, part of an archiving process. So it's going to go for archive as long as you can still read it. It doesn't need to look amazing. So some nice opportunities there, some things to consider. But folks, that's not coming out to late June or early August. Does anyone have any questions or comments before we look at some really interesting, some really nice changes coming to Teams? Okie dokie. Let's go and let me just check in with somebody. Who's over on page 2? Catherine Pritchard, you okay with all those updates that we've done so far? Took a second for that page to load.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Very good. Thank you for checking in. Okay, let's go see what's going on over in Teams. So you can already do this with your calendar in Teams, and it's quite useful to be able to right click on it and pop it out into a new window. Now, I want you to imagine that Gary Mead is sitting down to their computer and they're looking in Teams and they see something in Teams or chat, and they have to they click on it, they have to action it. But then once they've done the thing, they have to come back and find their way back to where they were because they're going through all the chats. What if you could right click and pop out your windows, especially if you've got a big screen, you can pop out all the components of Teams, have them separate so you can navigate around without having to go to backspace, or find you back to where you were. So just a note, just right click on it, and then you can pop that open in a new window. And note that really nice, easy way of moving your things up and down. If you want to try that, folks, you can try that in the calendar now, because that's what it's already out in the calendar. But folks, due early to mid-July this year, I think that looks really nice, just from a ease in and just having a nicer way of navigating around Teams. Okay, chat is getting, and I noticed this already. Katrina, I'm with you. It'd be nice to be able to pop out a whole team and separate all things out, wouldn't it? So, chat in Teams, get the ability to look at last read and newest jump buttons, so you can jump around. Now, by default, when you look at a chat, so you go into maybe Helen goes into Teams, goes into chat. We've got some that are in bold, so we click on those. By default, we'll jump to whatever we read last, and then the next thing is the first unread. It might be that actually you come back off leave and you just need to scan a few chats to see if anything's like caught fire or anything's happened in the last couple of days on your very latest chats, and you can jump to newest very quickly. If you happen to have changed the default and you look at the newest by default, so you can quickly scan around all your chats, then you've got the option there to jump to last read if you've got time to engage with a thread properly. Now, you can go into Teams, go into settings, go into chats and channels, and you can change that default if you want to. Due mid to late June, so that'll be available to you anytime now, folks. Okay. I know a place that tell their staff not to use emojis in Teams in case they can be misinterpreted. They're going to love this update. Okay, so you can now add multiple reactions to chat and channel messages. As you can see here, Sasha really loves this update. We've got a puppy dog, a party face, we've got a rocket, claps, we've got some prayers, and we've got some love as well. Another way into this is you can see here that we've got a thread. I click on this icon at the bottom, click the little plus sign. I can barely say this and keep a straight face, right? Microsoft say that to maintain clarity and prevent clutter, you're limited to just 20 reactions per user per message. I mean, someone must have been smiling when they wrote that. Anyway, look out for if people love your something that you've put on Teams, it's going to get a lot of love. Anyway, let's go to something a bit more serious to prevent clutter. I know, right? Hang on, why is that? I don't even know what that Pokemon one is. Someone knows what your Pokemon one is. With the sunglasses. I'm guessing is it this thing down here? I don't even know. I don't even know where you'd find that. Right, let's get back to work. Teams is getting a network strength indicator. So let's imagine, let's see, Vicky knows what you're talking about. Let's imagine that Ali Galloway, Katrina Middleton, you're running a monthly session, and you've got maybe a couple hundred people on there. You've got multiple presenters, and then someone's sitting there, and then someone starts glitching, and you're thinking, is it my connection glitching, or is it glitching for everybody? I don't really want to ask because no one else has asked, so maybe it's me, but I don't really know. Now, that is going to go away. So you can see that we're going to get this network strength indicator. You can just, you see it on here. And if it's poor, it's going to make a suggestion. If it's okay, it's just going to